And this is probably the most important sentence. I mean, every sentence was just equally important, but this is really important. He goes, the answer you find here almost always seems to be to increase frequency. I found the opposite. I'm going to say something pretty controversial, and I hope it's controversial, right? I hope it gets out there to the masses and that more people see it and more people understand that listening to the people on Reddit, while Reddit is good for anecdotals and maybe some people's experiences regarding what dose did what or their frequency of AI use or whatever around TRT is good to observe and then decide what you're going to do for yourself. But the truth is, a lot of the advice on the TRT and the testosterone subreddits, I would say a good disproportionate amount of the device is actually not good advice. And that's cool if I get hated on. In fact, I hope I do. Truth is, you don't know someone else's body and how they're going to respond. And what people need to stop doing is trying to be very influential on this is how you should dose TRT as an example every day, micro injections, because the ideology influences that. And, oh, you want stable levels and that mimics neuronal rhythm. A lot of that is actually horseshit. And here's where I'm going to get the most blowback. Some guys, in my experience, dealing with real men, not guys on the internet, real guys are doing better on once a week injections or twice a week injections of bolus doses instead of fucking micro injections. Times specials on products. This is one of our most popular courses that we've ever launched. Supercharged Dopamine is the holy grail of dopamine hacking. It's 20% off, guys, right now. Code for that is 20 now. Cortex Stack, focus and flow in a bottle, and a fast onsetting stimulant. You need to turn the lights on very quickly. Get Cortex, 25% off. Code for that is 25 Cortex. Torque Stack, all day focus and flow, comparable to modafinil, dopamine style energy, 35% off right now, guys. Code for that is 35 Torque. Lastly, I'm a consultant on TRT, nootropics, ED, sexual dysfunction, host of other things. You can hire me in under a minute at livecortex.com. We got everything ranging from simple email protocols or consultations to one-on-one packages with me. I guess I'm just going to start this video by saying not everything that you read on Reddit, especially this stuff, especially this is like something, a huge warning, especially the stuff that people are very, very adamant about and borderline cultish about, that seem to have like some sort of ideology behind it that's driving it. That stuff is, though effective for some people and may be right and has truths caked into it, generally speaking, though, it is not the best route for a disproportionate amount of men. One of those things is daily micro injections of testosterone. Daily micro injections of testosterone. Now, look, the predominant ester, out there is testosterone cypionate. And testosterone cypionate is literally designed to have a long half-life. You don't need to be dosing testosterone cypionate daily. You can if you want to. And if you get libido and erections and everything's good, then good for you. I think you're in the minority. If you're going to be dosing daily, you should just use testosterone propionate, which comes with its own side effects like PIP, but it may be the better ester for you. So here are the major points of this video. Number one, just like straight off the bat, some men are going to do better in terms of all the sex stuff on TRT, libido erections, nocturnal erections, drive for sex, all that stuff on less frequent injections. Yep. The Reddit mob is already poised to fucking comment attack me. And you know what? I don't care. I'm ready for it. Let's go. Bring it on. Some guys are going to do better and all that stuff with less frequent bolus at once injections. Oh no, God forbid, right? The infamous shitty protocol of 200 milligrams at once or 100 milligrams split, twice a week, or maybe even like 70 milligrams or 80 milligrams every fourth day. There's no way that me, the advanced biohacker, would ever say that, because obviously daily micro injections where you can keep, natural diurnal rhythm and stable levels is the best way to be on TRT. Spoiler alert, that's horseshit. The only reason I know that is because, I can't even really use my personal experience, but my experience is the sex stuff is better on less frequent injections if on a longer ester. That's why I moved to propionate and went to every day, because that makes more sense. But it's a lot of other people, and it's more people than you would think. I want to take us to a thread on the TRT subreddit. Okay, so reddit.com/r/TRT that is titled "Finally Dialed In After Almost 1 Year. Here is the most important thing that I learned." And I'm going to read you like this whole thing so that we have context here. Guy goes, some details about me: 48 years old, fit, with very low body fat. Original T was 289. So this guy was hypogonadal, like legitimately below the bottom end of the reference range, with low free T and low estradiol. He probably felt like shit. He goes, I felt tired all the time. I was losing libido and erection quality. Also, my verbal fluency wasn't great. That's a good point. When you get testosterone flowing, it starts modifying neurotransmitters, because that's really its primary action on sexual function and everything else. you know, your cognitive function is going to be a lot better. He goes, in February of 23, I consulted a local clinic. Doctor put me on 1 injection per week. Okay, now, this is like heresy to people, blasphemy, of 100 milligrams test C. However, after reading here, all right, critical point, guys, after like going through Reddit and it just this social psychological dynamic of you wanting to fit in with what everybody else is doing, and then, you know, this ideological cult driven set of normalities in terms of dosing TRT, like do it daily, don't take NAI, like all the normal stuff that you're going to see on these subreddits. This guy fed into it. He goes, after reading here, I discovered this was a terrible protocol. So here's a guy on a protocol that's probably best for him, 100 milligrams once a week, or maybe even more once per week. But came on Reddit and discovered, despite what he felt, discovered it was a terrible protocol. I go, so rather than 1 injection per week, I injected 2x per week, Monday and Thursday, Monday AM and then Thursday PM. After the honeymoon period, I ended up not feeling good. Rather than trusting my doctor or my local clinic, I consulted Reddit. He goes, here I was told. It was probably the fact that my natural test is shut down and I should increase my dose. Did so and things got worse. Come to find out, my E2 was too high, as well as total and free tests. So I introduced an AI and things got better. Doc advised me to lower my dose, and I did. Huh. Let's continue. This is just starting to get enticing, boys. He goes, from here things improved, but I really didn't feel like myself. I was irritable and moody despite making massive gains in the gym. I tried various doses at 2x per week, but had no sustained improvement relative to mood and sexual performance. He goes, next, I changed to Defy. My protocol was managed by an RN, I guess previously, because my local doc wanted me to go back to 1 injection per week, which I knew was a terrible protocol. So here this guy already thinks and is certain that 1 injection per week is a terrible protocol. This is the whole point that I'm trying to get across. Like, you know, the somewhat aggressive demeanor on Reddit that you need to do this. And if you don't do this, you've got some TRT protocol from the fucking Stone Ages. Guy goes, Defy got me on some HCG, which has worked well, and advised me to take tests 3 times per week. My libido improved in the beginning, then got worse. They then moved me to every other day, and my libido got even worse. I did feel more stable in terms of mood, but that was really because I felt like a robot. He continues, libido continued to deteriorate. So being low SHBG between 14 and 22, Defy recommended I do daily shots. This really didn't appeal to me. So rather than switching to daily, I went back to my old doc and back to my 1 time per week, 1 injection per week protocol. Now here's the climax. Here's the pinnacle, boys. He goes, lo and behold, my libido raged for a week or two and has settled for the last 6 weeks or so at exceptional without being stupidly high. Then he goes, sexual function is like when I was 25, but better. Do I think the HCG, due to the HCG, my sensitivity is amazing, yet I have orgasm control, and I didn't when I was younger. I can stay hard when in sexual situations without stimulation. My mood is awesome, and I don't feel like a robot. I also don't experience any sort of crash when I get toward the end of my weekly cycle. And this is probably the most important sentence. I mean, every sentence was just equally important, but this is really important. He goes, the answer you find here almost always seems to be to increase frequency. I found the opposite. And I mean, there's people that corroborate this everywhere. Guy goes, very happy you wrote this. You're not the only person who has a great response once a week. I read similar posts to yours where they did the Reddit protocol of 2 or 3 times a week, but switched to 1 and felt best. People need to test all possible varies and not just stick to what they read here. You're going to see so many more of these. This guy goes, it's taken me 3 tries with different clinics. I finally decided to quit learning from Reddit and actually trying what my doctor or RN said. And lo and behold, I'm finally starting to feel better. Now, like, what am I trying to say here? Look, if you do daily injections of testosterone, cypionate, or enanthate, and you feel fine and libido erections are good, stick with it. Stay with it. Like, you know, sex hormones might need globulin, among other things, like your response in terms of aromatization and 5-alpha reduction to DHT. These things matter, and you might just be better suited to do everyday injections. However, look, guys, not everybody is going to respond best to that. And some individuals, whether it's the bolus dose at once, the conversion to DHT, the androgen receptor mediated gene transcription, you know, possibly peaks and troughs, and thus modifications in SHBG, who knows, sorcery. I mean, some of the shit is honestly fucking sorcery, guys. they have adequate libido, like it's supposed to be on TRT. You know, they're walking around with boners all the time. It's rubbing against their fucking shorts. They have to do the old tuck at the gym, you know, and they're just horny individuals, and everything works really great. But a good degree of these guys are not on the Reddit protocols, boys. They're not doing, you know, ultra low dose cypionate as to keep the estradiol exactly in range while not getting therapeutic levels of testosterone at fucking 112 milligrams a week injected daily. You know, they're at what might be 112 milligrams a week, but they're injecting it all at once. They're getting all this androgen receptor mediated gene transcription, which is provoking response at the tissue level, modifying neurotransmitters like, yeah, testosterone is testosterone and it makes you strong. It binds to skeletal tissues and it allows you to synthesize more protein. But a good degree of the sexual effects of testosterone actually are neurologically mediated. Okay. Testosterone is influencing neurology at various capacities relating to various neurotransmitters. And that's where you get the sexual benefits, and particularly the dopaminergic pathways. Now, like these dudes that are on one injection a week, or maybe they're doing every 3.5 days, or they're doing every other day, but high doses at a time, like 60 milligrams every other day, right? For a total of 210 a week, which the Redditors would tell you is a fucking cycle, which is not true. Okay. Like go talk to gym bros that are actually fucking running cycles. Minimum 500 milligrams a week. Okay. That's a cycle, guys, and above. And 500 milligrams is a rookie starter cycle. Okay. If you talk to the real gym bros, 210 is not a fucking cycle. Anyway, it is not uncommon to find guys that inject far less frequently and don't really take any of the advice on Reddit. You know, they're injecting once a week or twice a week in bolus doses, and they're getting all that, you know, receptor saturation and again, the genetic action post receptor binding from testosterone and DHT. They're getting, you know, insane superphysiologic peaks, and they have better libido and sexual function. Everything pretty much works good or as intended on TRT for them, you know, versus the guy that's fucking injecting an 8-day half-life ester every single day in micro amounts into his body. And I'm here to tell you that, like, look, yeah, some of the advice on Reddit's good, and maybe some of it's going to work for you. But when your libido is shit and you're not having the sexual function that you should have on full-blown exogenous testosterone, which you absolutely should have on exogenous testosterone, you might want to think about jettisoning all of this Reddit advice and going to what we know is tried and true, which is why it's generally suggested by endocrinologists and doctors, and inject once a week or inject twice a week. And if you're going to inject every other day, make sure it's bolus doses. The whole point is, and why one of the reasons I'm doing really well on prop, and when I was on longer esters, I had to inject bolus doses in order for libido to work, is that, look, exogenous testosterone in terms of its powerful effects is not akin to the same amount of endogenous testosterone. Okay. I fully believe that at this point. Like your 600 nanograms per deciliter endogenous testosterone will have X powerful effect. But in order to get that X powerful effect, you might need to be 1200, 1300, 1400, you know, at your peak saturation point with testosterone while you're on exogenous testosterone. Okay. It does not translate, boys. When I see this ideological driven advice, like to inject it every day and to like, whatever the new trendy thing is, like everybody seems to agree with, I cringe a little bit, because a lot of these guys, it's not even their personal experience, right? It's not their personal experience. They're repeating things that they think they'll get upvoted for. And they're repeating stuff that they've heard repeated over and over again. Again, social psychology, this weird dynamic, like where studies have been done where a person was seeing the color green, but 17 other people in the study said that color's blue, and that last person said, you know, yeah, I guess it's blue. But they were fucking seeing green, dude. Like, do you understand what's happening there? They're influenced by everybody else who says this is the case to go against what their own eyes see. And you don't want to do that when it comes to TRT, especially if you're trying to get one of the most important things on testosterone replacement therapy, which is your sexual function. It's all I want to really do. You know, look, I've done daily injections before. I've done every other day injections. Again, I really had to dose pretty high in order to get that maximized effect. You know, I'm running prop now, and prop, like, again, I get super physiologic peaks. I'm at 175 milligrams a week, and I do inject daily, but that's prop. It's a fast-acting ester. Man, if you're running cypionate or enanthate, you might just need to switch, okay, to less frequent injections to get better effects on sexual performance. That's the major point. But the other major point is I think you just want to be really, really careful not to take what seems to be like excessively socially validated, where a lot of people are very, very vocal about it on the web, where there's truth caked into it, and it seems to make a lot of logical sense, i.e. diurnal rhythm and mimicking natural testosterone secretion and keeping blood levels stable. You don't necessarily want to take that stuff as truth. And actually, you should be very skeptical when a large body of people are saying the same thing and they're aggressive if you don't fucking agree with them. So you should do what works for you. But keep in mind, right, the cultish, like everybody's ducks are in a row, everybody's in the same camp, and you're an asshole if you disagree with them. Like, you got to be a little skeptical of that stuff. And if it isn't working for you, close the browser tab, okay? Unsubscribe from the TRT or testosterone subreddits, or stay subscribed and go there every now and then for when you need to extract information, and do what will work for you. Try things that may be the antithesis of what everyone is suggesting, and it might just be the protocol that finally dials you in. All right, boys, if you need to hire me for consulting on TRT, it's one of the primary things that I do: nootropic regimen formulation, brain performance optimization. These are my specialties: sexual dysfunction, ED, host of other things you can do so under a minute at livecortex.com. I got email consultations, TRT protocol consultations, and longer one-on-one packages. Cortex Stack 25% off. Code for that is 25 Cortex. Torque Stack 35% off. I mean, this is comparable to modafinil. People love this stack. Code for that is 35 Torque. If you go to the courses tab and the guides tab, there are 5 guides, downloadable digital guides, and there are 6 video courses. The most popular of them is the Supercharged Dopamine course. That's 20% off right now. Code for that is 20 now. All right, everybody, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you. I appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to be with me. Please like the video. If you liked it, it makes a huge difference. So when YouTube suggests our channel out there in the algorithm. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel because we break down stuff that no one talks about. It's been fun hanging out with you guys. I hope you have a great day. I hope you're having a great week. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one.